There was a time when myths and science were entwined. When mermaids and unicorns could mysteriously appear. And devilfish flew the oceans. Nature was weird. When science revealed the truth behind these imaginary creatures, it found real animals lay behind the legends. Today, science still makes astonishing discoveries. But nature seems just as weird. It's just that fact has broken free from fiction. In weird nature, real animal behavior is set against human backdrops. They give astonishing insights. The spiral tusk of the unicorn has been traced to a white whale, just as wonderful as the legend. The narwhal uses its twisted horns in jousts like a medieval knight. The mermaid's forked tail belongs to the dugong. Half seen, its body and face can appear surprisingly human. The devilfish is a manta ray. They leap to shed parasites and then briefly glide like phantom craft. Weird nature takes you into a world where imaginary human settings showcase animal behavior that is absolutely real. What is weird is best defined when compared to our own lives. Our first weird journey shows the wonderful ways that animals move. Life began in the oceans. This imaginary wreck brings together some early forms of motion. Jellyfish are the only animal to move by wafting water through a pulsating skirt. But such graceful jet propulsion is no match for the tides. A strange ancient mollusk improved the concept. The Nautilus jets water through a siphon that can move to control direction. It controls depth by regulating gas in a series of buoyancy chambers in its shell. Flame scallops jet propel by clapping their shells like castanets. They jet water from either side of their hinge. They dance to escape predators or to find new places. The Spanish dancer's technique is more elegant. It flamencos by rippling the ribbons along its body. The frills of its costume are actually gills, and despite its romantic name, it's really a sea slug. The seahorse can't move its armored body in sinuous waves like other swimming fish. Instead, a fin that quivers 20 times a second whirs it around. Shimmering side fins act as steering propellers. Jointed legs were an exciting new movement in evolution. Spiny lobsters used them to conga. Their procession provides safety in numbers as they move to deeper water to avoid winter storms. The slipstream from the leader cuts drag for those behind. Legs helped animals make the next evolutionary step. Today we prefer faster options. But legs have been in vogue since the first amphibians crawled from the sea. They dragged their bodies along using 4 legs splayed to the side. In California, the Mount Lyell salamander uses its tail as a 5th leg to negotiate the Sierra Nevada mountainside. They are also special in more human terms. The wheel was hailed as one of our greatest inventions. But as these creatures prove, we were simply reinventing it. Rolling is the quickest way down a hill, as this salamander has discovered. It's designed to flex like a rubber tire so it doesn't feel the bumps. The pearl moth caterpillar is common, but its talent for doing wheelies is a new discovery. It rolls with its caterpillar track on the inside. Salamanders and caterpillars were born to rock and roll, so this behavior is second nature. The salamander's more normal motion can cause problems for heavier creatures that move in the same way. For the early reptiles, crawling along the ground was literally a drag. Crocodiles had an odd solution. Walking on stilts cuts friction on rough ground, but the splayed feet have to rotate forward to take a step. It may be slow, but it saves energy, and most crocs use this stiff-legged walk whenever the going gets rough. The Australian freshwater croc shows an even stranger gait when provoked by predators such as the saltwater croc. It gallops, but not like any other animal. Its front feet work together in opposite motion to the back. As the front feet hit the ground, the back swing forward. When the back push away, the front reach out. Galloping horses were once painted like this. In truth, only freshwater crocs run in this seesaw way. It can reach 15 miles an hour and easily leap to safety. Evolution has taken many weird twists and turns. Each year, 20 million leapers of a more playful kind arrive in the world's toy shops from a tiny part of Mexico. The jumping bean is really the seed of a desert shrub. Only a few show this odd leaping. The seeds, imported as novelty toys, seem to have a mind of their own. There really is a mind behind the jumping. A moth caterpillar lives and feeds inside the seed. The caterpillars flip their home to escape. They not only feel the heat, light makes them jumpy. They fuss and fidget into the shade. This behavior is a lifesaver in the hot Mexican desert. The caterpillar repairs the damage by weaving a silken wall. It grips onto the silk wall when it leaps, and the shape of the bean helps it roll. For weirdness, the Mexican jumping bean is hard to beat. But Chifaka lemurs from Madagascar turn leaping into a surreal ballet. The secret of their graceful pogoing stems from a life in the trees. They can leap 30 meters with ease. These acrobatic skills have to be modified for the challenge of moving over the ground. The legs act as springs, and feet curled for gripping become landing pads. With no branches to grab, the arms are free to act as stabilizers. Every move of the legs is complemented by a matching move of the arms. The balletic poses maintain perfect balance. Chifakas only show such bizarre and beautiful motion because they evolved for a life in the trees. The same is true of the bush baby. This time-slice sequence shows the various poses a bush baby adopts as it jumps. It leaps 2¼ meters in height, equivalent to us clearing 2 stacked double-decker buses. To achieve this, the legs and feet act like springs, converting the energy of impact back into propulsion. It really does have a spring in its step. It waits until the peak of its jump before reaching out. The tail acts as a counterbalance. It's like a rubber ball with a brain, almost impossible for a predator to catch. This sequence freezes a bush baby as it becomes airborne. But gliding animals specialize in prolonging their time in the air. The golden tree frog of Malaysia is a treetop acrobat. Usually it hops just a few meters. But if it meets a golden tree snake, it happily makes a leap into the unknown. As it plummets, spread limbs slow its descent and its webbed feet double up as a parachute. The Javan flying frog goes one better. Its webbed feet have evolved into miniature wings. Instead of parachuting, it paraglides at an angle. But it's the Wallace frog that achieves aeronautical perfection. Its huge webbed feet become aerofoils that slow and control its descent. It glides as far forward as the distance it falls. As well as winged feet, its whole body is aerodynamically shaped. This is classic evolution. One feature progressively improved until perfection is achieved. Lizards lack webbed feet, so they expand other body features to get their wings. The flying gecko's impressive glide angle is due to wing-like fringes on its body. Every available edge has an aerodynamic extension. But it's the Draco lizard whose design really flies. A huge aerofoil turns the Draco into a living frisbee, while its tail steers like a rudder. Foldable ribs act as support struts to create the perfect wing. The golden tree snake uses other aeronautical tricks for its leap of faith. It loops its body for the ultimate takeoff and projects forward to gain a head start. It then flattens into a ribbon and swims through the air using S-shaped waves of its body. The star of this jungle air show is the owner of the most extravagant wings. From 80 meters up, the Wallace frog glides 80 meters forward. The gecko soars 100 meters. But nothing beats the flying frisbee. The Draco reaches a full 200 meters. Even a flying snake makes 150, complete with a controlled landing. A lack of legs has made snakes devise other weird ways of moving. In the deserts of the American Southwest, off-road traveling is notoriously difficult. Shifting sand is one of the most challenging surfaces to negotiate. The horned rattlesnake's solution is to touch the sand with as little of its body as possible. Appropriately, its nickname is the Sidewinder. Like tire tread, a snake's scales usually grip the ground as it moves, but sand simply gives way. So the snake makes an S shape with its body and lifts the loops in a rolling corkscrew. This continually shifts the points of contact to stop that sinking feeling. As waves of grip pass down the body, the snake rapidly picks up speed. Its hidden prey can also make a surprise move. Sidewinders avoid being buried by sand. Others welcome its smothering embrace. This predator spends much of its life lurking just beneath the surface. It can swim through shifting sand like an eel up a river, because the grains act like liquid rock. The sand swimmer's wedge-shaped head parts the grains like the prow of a boat. Its overslung upper jaw stops it swallowing sand, and it can close its nostrils to avoid suffocating. As the snake submerges, its polished scales slip through the grains as if immersing in water. Nature shows many wonderful forms of traveling. Those that seem weird are usually the least familiar. But although we think we're normal, in nature it is we who are peculiar. Our two legs place us among the world's oddest animals. We are the only mammal to regularly walk like this. Sometimes other primates hint at the origins of our strange bipedal walk. Proboscis monkeys use it to cross mangroves. A few scientists think we were once semi-aquatic. Walking like this kept our heads above water. Others believe that freeing the hands for gripping or carrying allowed a land ape to bring back food to a family. Whatever the reason, animals that walk like us seem strange. We find it weird to see our actions mirrored in other animals. In the age of the dinosaurs, we might have felt more at home. Many were also bipedal. Today, a few unrelated lizards continue in their footsteps. Like a miniature tyrannosaur, the collared lizard hunts on two legs. but it is more agile than any dinosaur, and, size for size, much faster. Being smaller gives speed and maneuverability.
Yeah, S-port.
Most bipedal lizards live in deserts. This kind of running needs space. When hunting other lizards, 2 legs give it the edge. The Tyrannosaur's modern equivalent. But while this lizard uses 2 legs for speed, we now prefer alternatives. The dinosaurs' real descendants are birds. Because they fly, we rarely notice that they walk on 2 legs like we do. But the Roadrunner is an exception. Its comical human-like gait made it a cartoon character. To save energy for its sprint, the Roadrunner exposes a solar panel. This dark skin patch raises its body temperature 7 degrees. It's primed for a superheated performance. To the Roadrunner, our open roads are racetracks, good for chasing insects and lizards. Its tiny legs take it to 26 miles an hour. If our legs moved this fast, we would overtake any speeding bike. Because 2-legged running limits our own speed, we use artificial means of travel, such as flying. But even though it can fly, the strange Roadrunner chooses to run on 2 legs for speed. Our machines take us ever faster, and we sometimes pay the price. But when we smile at the Roadrunner's bipedal running, are we recognizing our own weird nature? In nature, a good defense is key to survival. But humans have no natural defenses at all. Even our most magical camouflage is no match for the real thing. Vine snakes freeze motionless for hours as they mimic the creepers that hide them. In turn, snakes are impersonated by the snakehead caterpillar. Insects become leaves, finessed with details of damage. A hunter's spotted coat conjures up dappled shade. But in the arms race between predator and prey, even the eyes of a killer are mimicked. These false faces, complete with eyes and nose, belong to eye-spot frogs. They frighten real predators. poison arrow frogs really are lethal, so rather than hide, they use vivid colors to warn against being eaten by mistake. Their toxic secretions lace tribal darts. The poison from just one frog can kill a man. Weird Nature uses imaginary settings to showcase real animal behavior. This weird journey reveals the strange ways animals protect themselves. Full body armor is often the first line of defense. The three-banded armadillos of Argentina are the masters. Like medieval knights, they use articulated armor. Their protective shields, made from a double layer of horn and bone, are hinged with leathery skin. The plates cope with most of what nature throws at them, but a polo match is exceptional. This imaginary scene showcases the armadillo's extraordinary behavior. Its first defense is to run, but heavy armor slows it down. Its second defense is to roll up, interlocking its plates into a sealed ball. Strongest shape in nature. It can open just a chink to check what's happening. Even we ball up for protection. But helmets and padding can't compete with full body armor. The only soft part of the armadillo is its face and underbelly. Otherwise, it's a walking armored tank. It takes the knocks of real life just as easily in its stride. This fantasy wreck displays the inventive defenses of sea creatures. The pufferfish has its own version of armor. Instead of scales, its leathery skin is armed with spines. The spines erect to form a lethal pincushion when the fish sucks in water. With elasticated skin and no ribs to stop its body expanding, it balloons to 5 times its normal size. Too big for most mouths to swallow. The puffer's ultimate weapon is poison. Enough to kill 30 people. There is no known antidote. This wreck also shows how animal defenses can adapt to extraordinary circumstances. For dresser crabs, the right dress code is everything. They decorate their shells to fit in wherever they go. They select material from whatever's around. A dressing room full of treasure is paradise. They first chew their finds to make them frayed and fibrous. They then attach the prepared fabrics to Velcro-like hooks on their legs and shell. The dresser crab uses its keen attention to detail to fashion a camouflage suit. It usually adorns its costume with sponges and seaweed, as these are most often to hand. But given the chance, it improvises, a trait that helps the dresser crab maintain perfect camouflage. Their eclectic dress sense means they blend in anywhere, safe from the eyes of predators like pufferfish. To vanish, they freeze. Making yourself bigger is not only a defense, it can also send a message. The spotted skunk is famed for its offensive body odor. Bold markings warn that it carries a concealed weapon. If the skunk isn't shown respect, it ups the ante. Handstanding exaggerates its size and shows off its markings. It's a dance of defiance. Boot stomping drives home the threat. If the message is missed, the skunk reveals its weapon. Like an aerosol, anal glands spray sulfurous chemicals through nozzles aimed at the eyes. They cause temporary blindness and nausea. Some defensive sprays are even deadlier. Most give cobras a wide berth. But they say curiosity killed the cat. Snakes prefer to conserve their venom. So it spreads its hood as a warning. The spitting cobra aims for the eyes. Glands squeeze venom through hypodermic fangs. The spray jets 3 meters. A direct hit could have blinded for life. Most animals fear snakes. The horned frog of Central America is no exception. A lookalike snake provokes the same bizarre reaction. If puffing up and screaming like a banshee fails, it fights back. It pays to have a wide repertoire. Danger is never far away. A horned owl would soon make a meal of a frog, even one with an inflated ego. But owls are equally fooled by a snake in the grass. They click their beaks and hiss, and arch their wings to puff themselves up. If this bluff fails, they turn tail. Changing shape has been perfected by many sea creatures. The octopus's soft, malleable body helps it change shape easily. But the price of having no skeleton is vulnerability. One defense is to change texture to mimic its surroundings. Another is reactive camouflage. Its near instantaneous color change is under nervous control. Pigment cells expand and contract in waves of emotion. The color cells react quicker than those of any other animal. But this quick change artist has a rival. The peacock flounder's skin can make a near-perfect facsimile of its surroundings. A paper-thin profile helps its vanishing trick. But how does it fare on a less familiar background? Its stalked eyes have feature detectors, primed to pick out patterns. It does a quick survey, and then it makes a match. The eyes pass data to the brain, which adjusts the size and contrast of pigment cells for the best possible copy. Incredibly, it has to assume how the pattern would continue if its body wasn't there. On familiar ground, the match is perfect. If the octopus's camouflage fails, it has other tactics. Throwing sand in the face is one. So is whipping up a smoke screen. The ink is made of the black pigment melanin. It escapes under the cover of darkness. The octopus's last trick is that of a contortionist. It can squeeze through a hole 1/10 its body width. Its shrink-to-fit routine is limited only by the size of its beak. Once these hard mouthparts are through, the rest is easy. But the best shape-shifting act belongs to another of its kind. This is the amazing vampire squid. This rare deep-sea octopus has an equally rare defense. It turns itself inside out. The armory of spines makes it seem impregnable. But its spines are soft as jelly. It seems this is just an amazing bluff. Other creatures of the depths have equally odd defenses. In the cold fjords of Sweden, crab fishermen occasionally dredge up more than they bargained for. These are hagfish, relics from before the age of dinosaurs. Their peculiar miracle is turning seawater into slime. Glands that line their body fire out protein pellets that swell on contact with water. Other glands fire explosive threads. Together they form an impenetrable slime barrier that suffocates predators. To avoid the same vile fate, the hagfish can slip off its slimy coat by passing a knot down its body. One hagfish oozes enough gunge to turn a whole bucket of water into slime. As well as deterring predators, this gloopy mucus keeps rival hagfish away as they scavenge on rotted carcasses. Even hungry birds find this slippery fish too slimy to swallow. In Scandinavia, field fairs use equally foul play on intruders. Field fairs nest together, so one alarm call rallies the whole colony. All who trespass are dealt the same dirty trick. Even though humans have little natural protection, we've made up for it with some deadly inventions. But these birds have their own firepower. The whole squadron is scrambled. The hunter gets his comeuppance. But on birds of prey, the droppings can be fatal, destroying the waterproofing of their plumage. The Fulmars' defense tactics are even more repulsive. Its frontline defense is a moated fortress that keeps land predators from the breeding colony. The young are left for hours on these sea stacks as their parents make long fishing trips far offshore. Wise climbers avoid nesting cliffs. They know that chicks left home alone have a secret weapon. But what happens if a climber takes the wrong route? Chicks brew up an oily concoction in their stomachs from the fish they eat. They save this vile soup for the times they're left alone. The chick's usual threat is predatory birds, but anything within spitting distance becomes a target. It fires a warning shot, followed by a blast. The vomit is made from fish oils separated in the stomach from other food. What repels a climber could kill a bird. Vomit also damages plumage, causing hypothermia or drowning. Birds that use projectile vomiting may seem bizarre, but humans are weirder. We evolved to have no natural defenses at all. Our safety net is our technology and a brain that quickly learns from mistakes. Few animals are so poorly equipped to defend themselves. In nature's terms, it is we who are weird. Other animals even employ acting skills as a defense. This is not what it seems. These animals are far from dead. They are putting on a remarkable performance. Only a hint of movement gives the game away. Birds enter this trance-like state quite readily. Frogs appear to die have turned on their backs, but it's just a bluff. The hog-nosed snake lolls its tongue to fake death throes and gives off the stench of decay. The opossum gave death feigning a name. As it plays possum, anal secretions make it smell like a rotten corpse. This behavior is easily triggered by harmless hypnosis techniques. Strangely, the animals often wake up together. Playing dead works because most predators won't touch carrion. Danger gone, they quietly leave the stage. Among nature's devious feats of deception, playing possum must be as weird as it gets. Many dances are stylized forms of courtship. Scorpions dance for the same seductive reason. But a Spanish scorpion must court with care. As he takes her by the claws, he fends off her sting with his tail. Rejection now would be fatal. He keeps up her interest by sweeping her off her feet. The dance may last for hours as he tries to put her into a receptive mood. He seals his proposal with a kiss. It stops him becoming a meal. Next, he offers a present. He leaves a package to fertilize her eggs on the tip of a stalk. He guides her to pick up the gift, leaving just the stalk behind. This weird journey explores many other strange aspects of nature's ways of breeding. In courtship, gifts are always appreciated. The satin bowerbird of Australia has an eye for the presents his partner adores. Her favorite color is blue. This is not his nest, but a bower, a place of seduction. He must keep up its maintenance to impress any females that call. She visits all the bowers in her neighborhood to judge each male on his home decorating skills. She's hard to impress. An experienced male won't accept rejection lightly. He just works harder at winning her over. The more blue trinkets he accumulates, the more he turns her eye. His interest in home decoration is purely biological. The harder he works, the more he proves his fitness. He has amassed the bowerbird's equivalent of wealth, a proof of his genetic worth. And this bird has a lot on show. On this occasion, a ring seems appropriate, and it seems to be doing the trick. We may see human parallels in the bowerbird's courtship, but biologically, our behavior is stranger. We are one of the most sexually active of all mammals, but we're also one of the least fertile, and few animals have such a long courtship or mate throughout the year. But by any measure, this marsupial mouse is weird. Antechinus squeezes its bouts of passion into a few energetic days. In early spring, the male's only goal is to mate with as many partners as possible. Each session lasts several hours, and as soon as it ends, he looks for a new partner. He aims to track down every female in the neighborhood. Subtlety is not his forte. All this activity leaves him little time to eat, drink, or sleep, and in time, the stress starts to wear him down. Although exhausted, rampant hormones urge him on to yet another encounter. But he's feeling the strain. Over the 2-week breeding season, he ages a lifetime. Run down and tired, he is literally on his last legs. All the males are soon gone, leaving the females to bring up the babies. His sacrifice makes genetic sense. More offspring will survive if he isn't there to compete for food. Male mice may cause their own demise, but in the meadows of southern France, it's the female that's the deadlier of the species. The femme fatale in question is the European praying mantis. The smaller male courts his partner carefully. She can literally make a meal of any male. But he has to mate to pass on his genes. In this gruesome embrace, her love bite is the last thing he knows. But even this trauma doesn't seem to unnerve him. He continues to mate as though nothing has happened. Losing his head over a female helps nourish his future offspring. Astonishingly, decapitation even improves his performance. A tiny brain in his rear keeps him active. This macabre coupling can last a day. Even then, the discarded carcass doesn't give up readily. In the oceans, courtship is even more complicated. It is a world of sexual confusion and gender bending. One of the commonest reef fish are anthias. They gather in shoals many hundreds strong. Oddly, most of them are female. They can be identified by their violet eyebrow line and orange color. The few males are purple with a plume-like fin on their back. Should the male be removed, something strange happens. The leading lady takes over his role, literally. Her sexuality is flexible. She can perform a quick sex change to take his place. Not only does her color and appearance change, she becomes he by developing male sex organs as well. It takes less than a week for this lady to become a fully functioning gent. Gender bending is also a speciality of sea hares. Like other sea slugs, sea hares are bisexual. Their hindquarters are female and their head ends are male. Their sexual orientation depends on which ends meet first. When several sea hares get together, they often form a mating chain. The front slug has to be female, but those in the middle mate both ways, and the last sea slug is always male. If the leader turns and joins the end of the chain, a bisexual wheel forms. Birth inevitably follows mating. For some, bubbles hold the secret of childcare. These Thai men are experts on breeding Siamese fighting fish. Traditionally, bets are placed on contests between their prize specimens. Such fights occur naturally in nearby lakes and rivers. In either place, the winner gains the female and a chance to show a more tender side to his nature. An egg-like marking on her belly shows she's ready to breed, a come-on for the male to start courtship. He then does something reminiscent of a child's game. He blows bubbles. But he stops his bubbles popping by coating them with saliva. Soon, a cluster of glistening baubles starts to accumulate. These will form a bubble nest for the care of his young. Then his aggression returns. But only to put her in the mood to accept his embrace. He quickly siphons up the fertilized eggs. Then spits them into the bubbles. This bubble wrapping protects them from predators or infection. Two days later, the fry hatch and start to feed from their egg sacs. The fighting fish keeps up his vigil. Fry that stray are soon caught and returned to the care of the bubble nest. Caring for young by bubble wrapping them is popular in nature. The praying mantis lathers up a foam of microscopic bubbles to cocoon her offspring. The foam hardens into a protective case that cossets her young. Foam nesting frogs also get into a lather tending their young. The mother secretes a fluid that the pair whip up into a foam, similar to egg white. She lays her fertilized eggs inside. the outer wall of bubbles hardens like meringue and protects the eggs from predators, bacteria and the weather. 3 days later, the first of several hundred tadpoles emerge. While some bubble wrap their young, others literally splash out on childcare. In the Amazon, splash tetras stage a leaping contest. These strange fish out of water lay their eggs on leaves. The males leap to inspect suitable sites. They prefer protected leaves with a surface that's easy to stick to. The leap requires perfect posture. The fish must align itself so it grips the leaf by surface tension as it lands. The male guards his chosen leaf until a female arrives. The pair line up under the leaf and perform the ultimate act of synchronized swimming. As a cue, the female nudges the male with her head. Then a flick of their tails propels them in perfect unison. They are so synchronized, to the human eye they appear as one. The eggs are laid, but the male's work has just begun. He must keep them wet until they hatch. The splash tetra must have the most labor-intensive childcare of any fish. But his eggs are safer from predators on leaves rather than in the river. After 2 days of hard splashing, the fry emerge. The Suriname toad's version of parenting is even more eccentric. Her young literally get under her skin. They develop from eggs to tadpoles in a wad of skin on her back and emerge as fully formed toadlets. Most toads lay hundreds of eggs and only a few survive. Using skin care ensures that all the Suriname's offspring become baby toads. Once free, they fend for themselves. For some, parental care is the father's responsibility. The African bullfrog is one such doting parent. His tadpoles develop in shallow pools where he acts as their lifeguard. But water is siphoned up by many thirsty creatures. Faced with towering competition, the bullfrog retreats, but as the water levels drop, he still remembers his offspring. The sun also causes the precious water to vanish. Soon the mud will be concrete hard. His poor tadpoles are left high and dry. They call to their father for help. He reacts by digging an escape route. It's a race against time. He paddles away to soften the rock-hard earth as he digs a canal. Their pleas for help urge him on. Breakthrough happens in the nick of time. He leads his offspring to safety. The bullfrog is one of the world's most devoted fathers. But he has competition. The Siberian dwarf hamster must win the prize for being nature's new man. The male acts as midwife during his partner's labor. Male midwifery is unique among mammals, and even in humans it's a recent development. Biologically, human birthing behavior is strange. Only humans have such painful and extended labor, and few animals have such helpless young. But like other mammals, human males traditionally stay away at the birth. However, the hamster's mate is her constant birth companion. Russian hospitals still follow tradition and exclude fathers from the birth process. But the hamster's partner shows a feminine care and concern. He cleans each newborn baby in turn. His human counterpart can only wait in the sidelines. At birth, the hamster even cuts the umbilical cord with his teeth. Traditionally, women continue to help once the birth is over. Again, the male hamster takes on this caring role. He retrieves any youngsters that wriggle from the nest. In many countries, human fathers are now encouraged to attend the birth. But in Russia, old traditions die hard. The hamster may be the only mammal that naturally acts like a new man. But there's a catch. He soon reveals a less sensitive side. His partner can only mate over the next 3 hours. Helping at the birth stops him missing the moment. But the dwarf hamster has a rival for his new age credentials. Seahorses are the only animals in which the male actually becomes pregnant. He carries his partner's eggs in a brood pouch on his stomach. The pouch lining acts like a placenta and nourishes the developing young. When the time comes to give birth, he even suffers contractions. They become more violent as the birth approaches. He gives birth to around 100 young. Each is a miniature replica of their father. Seahorses are the only animals whose males experience the birth process. His young grip the nearest thing they can find, even each other. He may be the spitting image of his father, but from now on he's on his own. For seahorses, parental care stops at birth. Extended childcare is most common in mammals. The Asian musk shrew has perhaps the oddest way of keeping her young in line. Moving a large family between nests is a big responsibility. To avoid getting lost, each youngster bites the fur by its neighbor's tail and hangs on tight. To the young, it's a game of follow my leader. Wherever their mother goes, they keep in step. But if the mother becomes separated from her brood, the youngsters grab any moving thing that passes. Their persistence and strength of grasp is phenomenal. As long as the train keeps moving, they'll hold on tight. Even in the air. Stop the train and they let go. When the mother returns, order is restored to her chaotic brood. She guides her daisy chain to safety. Such care may seem odd, but in a world of bizarre breeding, we are stranger. No other animal tends its young for as long as us. We catch our food in many ingenious ways, but nature is just as inventive. The bolus spider can attract male moths by mimicking the scent of a female. It uses a blob of glue dangling by a thread to catch them. The spider's bolas is named after an old hunting weapon still used in South America. Gauchos throw these weighted ropes around the legs of cattle to bring them down. The spider's version is sticky. It is cued by the beating of wings. The thread is stronger than steel. Few escape. This weird journey shows many of the strange ways that nature catches food. In nature, It's only humans that rely on artificial tools to catch their prey. And nature's weapons put our inventions to shame. This lethal saw belongs to a freshwater shark. Monsters 7 meters long patrol the rivers of northern Australia. The sawfish's long snout is armed with pin-sharp teeth that slash at prey. It drives fish to the shallows where this living chainsaw can do its devastating work. Dismembered victims are sucked up by its underslung mouth. While some use vicious weapons to dispatch prey, others employ the finesse of a marksman. The archer fish uses a water pistol. It makes a gun barrel by pressing its tongue against a groove in its mouth. It closes its gills to force out the water. It's accurate up to 2 meters. This expert in ballistics even allows for the curving of the jet through gravity. And adjusts for the way light bends at the boundary between water and air, which appears to shift the position of its target. By some amazing computation, it changes its firing angle to compensate for this optical illusion. Archers target anything that moves or glows. The velvet worm employs even deadlier firepower. One of the oldest invertebrates, its shooting style is unique. Like a gunslinger, it has 2 pistols. They fire lassos of glue. The threads snake up to 1 meter. Its glue guns weave from side to side to spread their fire. The strands glue down the victim like a sticky net. This rapid adhesive dries in seconds. The velvet worm's knife-like jaw pierces its victim before sucking it dry. New research suggests that dolphins also have a weapon that can be fired at prey, but one based on sound. Dolphins use a form of sonar to investigate their world. They create an image by sending out a sound beam and decoding the returning echoes. These pulses of high-intensity ultrasound can penetrate the sand and even create a sound picture of buried fish. By upping the intensity, the dolphin appears to turn its sound system into a weapon. The blasts disorientate prey, making them easy to catch. Sonic weapons have been perfected by others. Far from being quiet, the ocean is filled with a cacophony of animal noise that can even disrupt the sonic transmissions of submarines. Most of the din is made by a surprisingly insignificant creature, the pistol shrimp. By snapping its claws, it can not only make communication sounds, but something far deadlier. These shrimps are its prey. It deals a knockout blow from a distance by using its claw as a sonic weapon. First, its claw is cocked like a pistol, then fired. The effect is literally stunning. As the claw snaps shut, it fires a blast of bubbles. Incredibly, as the bubbles collapse, they momentarily reach the temperature of the sun. This implosion causes a shockwave that stuns. This is also the haunt of other weird feeders. The frogfish gives fast food a new meaning. It can catch its prey quicker than any other creature. It uses its fins as legs to creep its camouflaged body around. Prey fooled by the disguise is grabbed faster than the eye can see. The process takes 1/6000th of a second, quicker than any creature can react. Extreme slow motion reveals what no animal eye can see. Its mouth balloons 12 times, creating a vacuum that sucks in prey. The frogfish has the fastest known movement in the animal world. But it isn't the only fast food addict in the ocean. The extraordinary eyes of the mantis shrimp, a creature famed for its high-speed knockout punch. Its speciality is breaking into crab shells. It finds its prey using the most sophisticated targeting system in nature. Our eyes have 3 types of color analyzing cells. The mantis has 16 arranged in bands. They target their prey like crosshairs, the mantis's heavy calcified clubs can be swung at prey. They strike at lightning speed. The clubs smash with the force of a .22 caliber bullet. They shatter glass as easily as they pulverize a crab's shell. An eagle's way of breaking into prey gave rise to a Greek legend. It concerned a soothsayer who prophesied that a poet would die when a house fell down on him. The story arose in an area where golden eagles prey almost exclusively on tortoises. It has a beak that surgically cuts through flesh and effortlessly rips skin from bone, and talons that can pierce and crush almost any prey. But these tools are no match for the tortoise's armor. The eagle's solution fulfilled the soothsayer's prophecy. The poet did die from a falling house, but one that belonged to a tortoise. Its dive keeps up with its hapless prey. The impact achieved what defeated the talons. In the mountainous regions of northern Greece, chicks are reared almost exclusively on tortoises. But even the specialist tools of the eagle need help to keep the food coming. But one tool specialist is more perfectly equipped. It lives in the forests of Madagascar. Its specialist tool is a bony finger. In a remarkable adaptation, the aye-aye finds hidden prey by tapping with this elongated middle digit. Hollow cavities make a characteristic echo. Variations in the echoes build up a 3D picture of the cavity. It also listens for the characteristic sound of a wood-boring grub. Its ears cup the sound and confirm the spot. The aye-aye's tool then converts into a probe. A sniff confirms there's life. The finger transforms again, this time into a gaffer hook. Reaching inaccessible prey is a problem with many natural solutions. The chameleon's independent swiveling eyes help it locate its meal. They act as rangefinders, only coming together when prey is firmly within their sights. Reliable targeting is vital when using their projectile tongue, an organ that new research shows is more remarkable than was thought. The converging eyes help confirm distance, crucial for range finding. With a tongue longer than its body, it needs long-range accuracy. But some challenges are just too great. But they do reveal the tongue's mechanics. Circular muscles contract to shoot it forward. The sticky tip then forms a suction cup. The suckered tip allows some chameleons to even pluck small birds from the air. Its tongue extension is the fastest movement of any land animal. It accelerates to 50 G, 5 times that of a fighter plane.
There seems to be a fly in my suit.
What is that there?
Cuttlefish also use a long reach to catch food at a distance. Instead of a tongue, they deploy 2 extendable tentacles. Like the chameleon's tongue, the ends form suckers. Each sucker has a ring of minute teeth, which bite into its prey to increase grip. Having 2 tentacles also means they can act like tongs. They accelerate at 25 G, half the speed of the chameleon's tongue, but even more impressive as they have to plow through water. Cuttlefish have more mysterious powers. They appear to specialize in hypnosis. These bands of color are under nervous control. The effect can be hypnotic. Pigment cells beneath the skin expand and contract to create a mesmerizing display. The pulsing seems to create a deadly fascination. But the cuttlefish may not be alone in using hypnotic powers. Rabbits are a stoat's favorite prey. Stoats are living bundles of energy and live life at breakneck speed. They can tackle prey 10 times their size, if they can catch them. To help, they do something quite strange. This manic dance seems to be for the rabbit's benefit. And it appears to cast a spell. It's a deadly kind of enchantment. Some snakes have found other ways to fool. The death adder is one of Australia's deadliest and most perfectly camouflaged serpents. And it has a deadly trick. Its tail wriggles like a live lure. Skinks are among its favourite prey. They are especially partial to insect larvae. This snake's tail wriggles like a beetle grub. Its squirming tip even mimics a grub's segments. Any animal finds it hard to tell the difference. As the lizard nears, the writhing intensifies as the snake tries to lure it closer. But a reprieve is at hand. The death adder is aptly named. Half of all humans bitten die.
You all right?
Crocodiles also lunge at prey. They rely on stealth and a jump that exceeds their body length. Many fish have also found that leaping makes the perfect ambush. A tail flip propels the archerfish from the surface. They often prefer this direct approach to shooting down prey with water. These leaps are only used on prey that's close to the surface. But the arowana is the ultimate high jumper. It jumps 2 meters out of the water. A long tail provides propulsion. Swiveling eyes help with targeting. The arowana performs this feat using rhythmic waves of its long, muscular tail. Nature's animals use many fantastic ways of feeding, from the graceful to the bizarre. But we are the weirdest of all. We have no natural means to catch the animals we eat. Sometimes our equipment catches more than we bargained for. nature, relationships are usually straightforward. It's either friend or foe. But in domesticated animals, they sometimes take a bizarre turn. Goslings treat a lamb as their mother if she's the first thing they see when they hatch. And a lonely horse may choose a goat as a friend. Our relationship with domesticated animals is equally strange. Some we ride, some are hunters, some we eat, some we have as companions. Others even control our pests. Whatever their role, we share our lives with more creatures than any other animal. Among them, other odd friendships sometimes develop. A kitten will get on with a mouse if it's too young to know any better. Even wild animals can form accidental bonds. A broody robin without a mate becomes nanny to a family of thrushes. This odd couple even bicker over whose job it is to clean out the waste. Even a fox and hounds can be playmates, but only if they're reared together. Such behavior seems to go against nature. But this weird journey will reveal wild partnerships just as strange. We domesticated cows 6,000 years ago, but these tiny farm animals have been kept for far longer. As the aphids suck sap, they create sugary produce for their equally diminutive farmers. The ants milk their herds by stroking them with their antennae. The sweet secretion is known as honeydew. Like human farmers, the ants even move their livestock to richer pastures to increase production. They also protect their herds. On this scale, a ladybird is more dangerous than a wolf. But if the mini herdsmen work together, the cattle raider hasn't a chance. Our own livestock also attracts wild animals. The North American screech owl hunts the pests of animal feed. In a similar way, the cat started out as a pest controller in our ancient grain stores. Decorative breeds now bred as our companions have lost some of their original hunting skills. But as old roles change, new ones begin, even among hunters and prey. Owl chicks have poor table manners and they leave dropped food to rot, creating a serious health risk. But there is a solution. Although snakes are favored prey, the blind snake's armored skin is hard to break into. Snakes that escape are ignored. They soon slip into a new role. Like cats, they hunt vermin. Their pest control may be accidental, but nests with snakes have the healthiest chicks. One day this fledgling partnership might develop like the one between the cat and us. The narrow-mouthed toad has formed this kind of mature partnership, but with a spider. Tarantulas usually kill small toads, but these she welcomes with open arms. Her guests provide pest control. Spiders' egg sacs are often infested by insects, but the toads have the problem licked. In return for pest control, the tarantula protects her housemates. Screech owls also eat toads. It's payback time. The tarantula unleashes a secret weapon, a barrage of barbed hairs. These microscopic arrows aim for the eyes. Here, the landlord doubles as a bodyguard. It's an idea that's caught on. The Bedou tribesmen of the Arabian desert like a varied diet. The thorny-tailed lizard is a popular local delicacy. Its burrow shelters the lizard from the sun, but it's far from secure. Caught alive, the lizard keeps fresh for days. The black scorpion is also on the hunt for a lizard's burrow. It likes to share in the cooling shade. They've struck a deal. The scorpion never stings its landlord, and in turn, the lizard makes its venomous tenant feel at home. The scorpion pays rent by doubling as a security guard. It fends off foxes or other predators. But their pact makes lizard hunting a risky business. One with a sting in its tail. The pain lasts for days, but it's rarely fatal. Both gain from their living arrangement. The lizard is protected from predators, the scorpion from the heat. A different protection racket operates in the ocean. Clownfish use sea anemones as fortified living quarters, but even they get stung when they first move in. The clownfish must first dance carefully amongst the tentacles. This covers the fish with the anemone's mucus and ultimately stops the stings from firing. Anemones are also used by some hermit crabs. First, the anemone is dislodged. Then it is secured to the crab's shell. This living security system is even transferred across when the crab moves house. The boxing crab goes further. It uses anemones for poisonous fisticuffs. Modified pincers hold this fistful of stinging tentacles and keep predators at bay. Ocean partnerships take many forms. Here, personal hygiene is so important. Some earn a living offering a wash and brush up service. Like a barber's pole, these shrimps' red and white stripes advertise their trade. They wait for a customer, like this yellow tag, to call. The cleaner shrimps are conscientious, removing parasites and cleaning infected areas. They attend any large customer that visits. The cleaner wrasse wears a different striped uniform, but provides a similar service. Their personal grooming attends the most intimate areas. But a relationship based on trust is easily abused. The fang-toothed blenny wears the cleaner wrasse's uniform, but it's really a demon barber. It's after flesh. Its teeth are as sharp as a cutthroat razor. Partnerships need trust to survive. Fortunately, most cleaners keep their side of the bargain. Some land animals even provide a bus service for their personal attendants. The deer mouse's passengers are rove beetles. Up to 20 of these hangers-on may be attached to the mouse at any one time. When the mouse returns to one of its many nests, the beetles disembark. The nests are infested by ticks. The rove beetle's job is to hunt them down. The healthiest mice are those with the most tick-killing passengers. The three-toed sloth carries even more hitchhikers. The outer coat hairs are covered with algae, making the sloth the only green mammal in the world. Her baby has yet to acquire this jungle camouflage. Sharing the ride is a menagerie of up to 900 different species that eat the algae. Sloth moths are the most conspicuous passengers. They wait for a rare moment before they disembark. Once a week, nature calls and the sloth leaves the tree. Strangely, it does its business at special latrines on the ground. The moths are patient commuters. The whole process takes over an hour, a seemingly pointless and dangerous journey. This is the moment the moths are waiting for. They only lay their eggs in fresh dung. they race to be first. The moth's caterpillars feed on the dung and pupate here. When the adult moths emerge, they find the sloths somewhere in the trees. A different passenger service is provided by hummingbirds. Their speciality is air charter. This rufous-tailed hummingbird feeds from heliconia flowers, which also provide food for flower mites. When a bird arrives, the mites race on board. Size for size, they're as quick as a sprinting cheetah. They rely on the hummer to take them to fresh blooms. The mites stow away in the bird's nostrils. Up to a dozen mites may cram into these flight compartments. Like human passengers, they only disembark when their transport stops at their preferred destination. Each type of mite alights at his own favorite flower. These mites do little harm, but by blocking the nostrils they reduce flight efficiency. They also compete for pollen and nectar. They have started to act like parasites. Parasites come in many forms. One of the weirdest inhabits the remote reaches of the Amazon. Its grisly story sometimes involves people. One of the Amazon's commonest fish is the catfish. It often plays host to another, far smaller fish. This is the candiru, a parasite of fish gills. For the catfish, there is nowhere to hide. A trail of urea and ammonia streams from its gills. The candiru simply swims in circles until it picks up the scent. The signal becomes stronger as the fish approaches. It slips inside unnoticed. Spines in the candiru's head gaff the fish, securing it as it sucks blood from the gills. The worst that can happen to a parasite is to end up in the wrong host. The worst that can happen to a human is to become the wrong host to a candiru. Urinating in the water is unwise. The same cues of current and urea lure the candiru deep inside. In the southern states of America, an even stranger parasitic story recently emerged. Frogs began to appear with extra limbs and other deformities. These mysterious mutants were believed to be the result of chemical or radioactive pollution. The full story is stranger still. Herons that eat the frogs also acquire their parasites. The birds pass the eggs of parasitic flatworms in their droppings. Snails eat the eggs, which soon hatch and emerge as mini parasites. Each searches for the nearest tadpole. With torpedo precision, it tracks its target. It aims for the limb buds. As it burrows inside, cells explode. The fragmented limb buds try to regrow, but in the process they create several legs instead of one. The parasite creates a mutant for one simple purpose. Deformed frogs make easy prey. If its gruesome life cycle is to continue, its host must be eaten by a heron. We too harbor many parasites, but our relationship with one of them has changed over the last 3,000 years. The medicinal leech was used to treat a range of different ills, until bloodletting fell from favor at the end of the 19th century. But recently the leech has staged a medical comeback. Its blood-sucking skills can reduce the swellings known as hematomas, making it a valuable medical instrument. As it bites, an anesthetic numbs the pain. The patient doesn't feel a thing as the leech sucks up the accumulated blood. The three jaws have 100 teeth each and act like circular saws. As the teeth cut, the leech releases anticoagulants to disperse blood clots. It can balloon to 10 times its original size. Leeches are highly adapted parasites. Even these aquatic leeches have no problem looping their way over land. They seek out prey by sensing the carbon dioxide of its breath. The leech shows that even the most gruesome creatures can become our partners. But like the leech, most of the animals we use, we also keep under our control. Or at least we think we do. But some of our partners still live a wild existence. One is said to have a similar relationship with this African animal. The honey badger is reputed to have the greater honey guide as its partner. The bird leads the honey badger to bees' nests by calling for it to follow. It relies on the mammal's strong claws to break into hives it has previously found. Oddly, this partnership has yet to be proven by science, but these people have not only witnessed it, they too are regularly guided by the bird. By flying to and fro and calling, it leads the honey gatherers to a bee's nest several kilometers away. Studies show that the bird knows every hive within 250 square kilometers. The honey gatherers rely on the bird for their livelihood and always leave some comb as a reward. As for the badger, its ancestors were probably in this relationship before people even appeared on the scene. In Laguna, in South Brazil, people and wild animals cooperate in an almost magical partnership. The bottlenose dolphin's arrival is eagerly anticipated. The fishermen rely on the dolphins to herd fish to their nets. As they approach, the net is cast. Dolphins are highly successful predators, but by cooperating with fishermen, the odds of both improve. Their system is elegantly simple. They drive the shoals towards the men and use a rolling dive to cue them to throw their nets. While the men gain a bounty, in the chaos, the shoal fragments and the dolphins pick off stragglers. This relationship has survived centuries. Both fishermen and dolphins pass on the rules of the game to their offspring. With so many different partnerships, humans are among the weirdest animals on the planet. Perhaps this is our most perfect alliance, for the animals involved live totally free. Even familiar animals indulge in strange activities. Cats from far and wide are irresistibly drawn to a seemingly insignificant plant. In the presence of catnip, they do the unexpected. They not only eat its flowers, they rub, sniff and chew its leaves. Cats are strangely addicted to this fragrant herb. They return for a fix of its heady scent again and again. Its aromatic oils make them frisky and playful. As they fall deeper under its influence, their mood changes in other odd ways. As well as rolling around apparently in ecstasy, they chase imaginary mice. This odd behavior is triggered by chemicals resembling those in tomcat urine. Courting females writhe in this provocative way, but strangely, catnip affects both sexes. Cats even inherit this sensitivity. 3/4 are affected in some way. This weird journey shows how natural chemicals influence animal behavior and reveals much about ourselves. Aromatherapy is now more popular than ever. But we are in surprising company. Starlings use aromatic herbs to decorate their nests. As science studies the human benefits of aromatherapy, starling research shows that herbs help their chicks' immune system. Their herbs contain the same essential oils as those we use. In starlings, the oils are absorbed through the shell. They boost the embryo's white blood cells that fight infection. Chicks reared with herbs grow faster and cope better with stress when they leave the nest. Twice as many birds from herbal nests survive the first year. In a dangerous world, the smallest variation in fitness makes the difference between life and death. Many birds of prey also bring vegetation back to the nest. The black eagle returns with garlands of aromatic leaves throughout its 3-month nesting season. Like the oil in herbs, leaf oils are the plant's natural defense against insects. In the nest, they seem to act as bug busters, tackling infestations of flies, ticks, and mites. Local people use the same leaves as insect repellents in their homes. Perhaps like starlings, eagles also gain other health benefits. Whatever the truth, birds clearly know what's good for them. So do chimpanzees. Chimps use over 30 different plants to treat stomach complaints. This is Aspilia. Their young learn about self-medication by watching their elders. Aspilia leaves need special handling. They must be rolled, not chewed. This preserves hairs which trap intestinal worms. The leaves are also dosed with anti-parasitic chemicals, giving a double whammy. Many chimp remedies are also used by local people as herbal medicines. A growing knowledge of animal pharmacy is giving science insights into human treatments. There is much that nature can teach us. The axolotl has miraculous powers of regeneration. It dwells in a few lakes near Mexico City. This salamander tadpole never grows up. Adults keep their gills and spend their whole lives submerged. Lake Oxychimilco is a tough place to live. It is the most popular boating spot in Mexico. The way the axolotl copes with the hazards has made it the focus of scientific study. Limbs lost in accidents mysteriously regrow. Their process of regeneration is providing insights into the repair systems of our own bodies. They take just 3 months to replace a severed leg. If we can unlock the axolotl's secrets, we too might regrow lost limbs. Such studies into the weird side of nature may unlock the key to our future health. Nature can even tackle its own environmental health problems. Many birds, like the rook, employ pest controllers. They enlist the unwitting help of ants. It surrenders to the frenzy of bites with outstretched wings. The ants also squirt formic acid, a natural insecticide. This vinegary acid keeps down feather mites and seems to double as a plumage conditioner. Smoke triggers the same odd contortions, so it probably acts as a pesticide too. It must fumigate their plumage. The rook's posture resembles the mythical phoenix, a bird reborn from fire. Did a bird indulging in pest control spawn the phoenix legend? Other familiar animals perform equally strange rituals. Hedgehogs are immune to many poisons and even have a taste for noxious substances, like creosote. Their substance abuse is harmless, but it provokes a peculiar reaction. They contort their body and lick saliva onto their spines. Discarded cigarettes are another popular stimulant. They induce the same effect. Why hedgehogs perform this bizarre ritual is a mystery, but self-anointing is triggered by any pungent taste. Perhaps the spittle cleans spines that are impossible to groom. And when mixed with the noxious stimulant, it might also deter parasites. Nicotine is the tobacco plant's natural insecticide. Human addiction is an accidental effect of this powerful chemical. But the link between addiction and insecticides may not be purely accidental. Millipedes are extremely poisonous, but in Madagascar they are gathered with enthusiasm. These black lemurs don't eat their finds. They just annoy them by biting them gently. The millipede sprays out defensive chemicals, including cyanide. The lemur spreads these toxins over its fur. Lemurs crave these dangerous substances and grab every millipede within reach. There is reason behind their addiction. The poisons repel insects and keep malaria-carrying mosquitoes at bay. As the self-anointing ritual continues, something strange happens. The lemurs enter a blissful state. The secretions seem to act as a narcotic, giving the lemur pleasure as a reward. Their drug habit must be harmful, but its benefits as an insecticide must outweigh the risks. Millipedes usually survive the experience relatively unscathed. The lemur takes a little longer to recover. Our own liking for intoxication has its roots in the natural world. We even have similarities with bees. Hives are complex societies with each bee assigned a role. Visitors are identity checked by guard bees. Workers gather nectar and pollen. They are especially partial to the sugary sap of lime trees. But the sap soon ferments into an alcoholic drink. Alcohol affects bees much as it affects us. Their beeline back to the hive soon takes a few turns for the worse. As well as losing coordination, they lose their sense of direction. Those that stagger back not only have to land successfully, they have to pass the security check. Like bouncers, the guards evict drunk and disorderly bees from the premises. Their role is to stop behavior that disrupts the smooth running of the hive. Bee bouncers give all drunks the same rough treatment. Persistent offenders may even have their legs bitten off. They literally end up legless. Similarities with our own behavior may be purely coincidental, but true insights into our love affair with alcohol can be found in nature. This is the sleepy island of St. Kitts in the Caribbean. "300 years ago, vervet monkeys were brought here from West Africa along with slaves serving the rum industry. Escaped monkeys acquired a taste for alcohol by eating fermented sugarcane left in the fields. Today they satisfy their thirst by raiding local bars. They have learned to be sneaky. Picking the right moment is everything. For years, the monkeys have been studied for insights into our own drinking habits. Just as we vary in our taste for alcohol, so do the monkeys. Some do anything for an alcoholic cocktail. But just as some people are teetotal, so are some monkeys. These reject alcohol in favor of soft drink. Significantly, the percentage of teetotal monkeys matches the non-drinkers in the human population. In line with human habits, most drink in moderation. 12% are steady drinkers, and 5% drink to the last drop. This similarity between us shows that a liking for alcohol is determined mainly by our genes. After each daily raid, other human parallels soon appear. But unlike us, monkeys that are heavy drinkers make better leaders, respected by other monkeys. They seem to tolerate leaders that monkey around. Like monkeys, our taste for alcohol began when we scoured the forest for ripe fermenting fruit. Food and alcohol became linked with intoxicating effect. In Peru, spider monkeys have the equivalent of a detox program. They come to this muddy spa to eat dirt. The mud contains kaolin, a neutralizing clay used to treat our own stomach upsets. Peccaries, a kind of pig, visit this jungle pharmacy for the same medicinal treatment. So do parrots. The leaves and fruits of rainforest trees are poisonous. A daily dose of clay detoxifies these meals. A full health spa attracts hunters. Cats have their own tastes in medicines. Just as pet cats eat grass, large cats like jaguars eat leaves. When regurgitated, they cleanse their digestive system. But, like catnip, some plants induce other effects. Yaji is one of the commonest rainforest vines. It seems to cause playful, kittenish behavior. But could something deeper be happening? The vines are used by forest people in their hallucinogenic rituals. They take them to enhance their senses and gain the jaguar's hunting power. They believe the jaguar also takes Yaji to heighten its senses when it hunts. Like so much of weird nature, there is still so much to know. In the Arctic Circle, this fungus also has magical associations with animals. Fly agaric contains hallucinogenic chemicals and is a favorite food of reindeer. For thousands of years, the lives of reindeer and Sami people have been entwined. Fly agaric was important to both of them. In autumn, reindeer seek out the mushrooms, even under an early fall of snow. No one knows whether the reindeer are affected, but in the past, Sami shamans took fly agaric in their visionary rituals. They even drank urine from reindeer believed to be under the influence. In trance, they contacted the great reindeer spirit. On humans, the drug heightens senses and creates visions of flying. Some believe the greatest of all modern myths arose in the Sami's visionary flights of fancy. Perhaps early 19th century ideas drew on these stories to create a Christmas legend. Weird Nature explored strange animal behavior against settings of modern myths and human lives. It began by revealing the odd ways that some animals move. But compared with nature's movements, our two-legged walking is one of the oddest on the planet. Animals have many devious defenses. But we have no natural defenses at all. Some animals have fantastic ways to catch prey, but we need artificial help to catch ours. Creatures have struck up strange partnerships, but we depend on more animal partners than any other. There are fish that change sex. And males that give birth. But biologically, most of our breeding habits are strange. All in all, we are one of nature's strangest animals. We are weird nature. There is another way that we are unique. Our imagination can conjure up the most fanciful creatures. But science has shown us that even these have roots in reality. Giant octopus have been found with tentacles that span over 30 feet. When science separated myth from reality, it found that real creatures had fed our fertile imagination. But whatever our minds dream up, science is stranger than myth.